Good morning and good afternoon. We'll just give it a minute here before we go ahead and get started. Just letting a few more folks join in today. Okay, why don't we go ahead and get started? So just a good morning and good afternoon to everybody joining our 2026 R1 release webinar. Thank you for attending. We'll go ahead and get started here shortly, just as it relates back to a few logistics, as it relates back to the session. Use the chat window for any questions and answers that will be coming up. We will be recording this session and it will be posted on our website within a week. All participants, except our presenters, will be on mute. And just a plug, we'll have a second session next week covering payroll, time tracking, financials, and adaptive. And we've got six amazing presenters today covering everything from core HCM to Extend. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Kyla, who will get us started.
Thanks, Mike. Hi, my name's Kyla Hermelin. I'm a manager in the technical services practice here at The Groove, and I have over 6 years of Workday experience and over 5 years in the reporting and analytics area. I specialize in HCM reporting, and I'm really glad to be presenting the Reporting and Analytics Workday 2026 R1 features. Reporting has even more updates for this release than our last, but I'll be speaking on those top 3 reporting features, as well as the best people analytics enhancements. To start off, Workday delivers 2 new chart types, scatterplot and funnel. Scatterplot charts enable deeper analytical insights into how different variables will impact your business by allowing you to quickly see if a relationship exists between the 2 metrics. The scatterplot chart type will require a minimum of 2 variables for a horizontal and a vertical axis that can be further refined by even adding a color dimension. This is going to allow you to assign specific sentiments to each quadrant, which will automatically color those data marks. As an example, a positive sentiment would apply a green color and a negative sentiment would apply a red color, and that will help you distinguish between the different levels of performance or risk at a glance. And then we have our funnel charts, and those will improve visual analysis and help you analyze linear processes, making it easier and faster to identify where significant drop-offs occur within your data. For this funnel chart type, the chart will automatically render with a legend, and that's going to help you identify those dimensional values for each stage within the funnel. Workday will provide an interactive tooltip at runtime that will display the metric value and those conversion rates. Now, what business challenges does this solve for? Well, the scatterplot visualization makes it easy to identify data points that fall outside of the expected range for more targeted investigations, such as correlation between employee age and performance ratings. And then our funnel charts will allow you to represent processes with distinct stages that data moves through sequentially, such as sales pipeline, or what I see the most often, the recruitment lifecycle. Some deployment considerations to have. The feature will be automatically available on those matrix and trending report types. All you need to do is edit the report, navigate to that output tab, and you can select each chart type. Overall, the level of effort to implement is low. For our next update that we have, they are pertaining to composites. Workday is now enabling users to instantly create worksheet workbooks with live data by clicking a new button on the composite reports instead of having to manually create them in Workday Drive through worksheets. Workday is also now allowing contextual commenting in worksheets for composite report data. This is going to provide a very enhanced and unified commenting UI, and that will include data snapshots threaded discussions, filters, and even resolution options for all report and non-report related data across worksheets. It's going to instantly create worksheets, and this is going to help solve some business challenges by allowing teams to move faster by turning existing reports into live, reusable worksheets, again in one single step. No need to navigate to Workday Drive immediately, and this will eliminate those manual recreations and reducing setup time. By keeping reports connected to live data and securely within Workday, you maintain up-to-date insights while protecting sensitive information. Contextual commenting will also improve collaboration and decision-making within worksheets by anchoring the discussions directly to the context of the live composite report data. By keeping those questions, clarifications, and assumptions connected to the analysis itself, teams will reduce misinterpretation and all of the back and forth that may happen across external tools. This feature is also automatically available, and the level of effort to implement is low. For our last reporting update that we have here, it has to go with report prompt control, which I was very excited to see. Workday has added a new control prompt values column to the prompts tab when editing a custom report to help streamline how you manage and interact with the report criteria. A new control prompt values column on the prompts tab lets you configure single and multi-instance prompts and apply those filters. CRFs and other calculated fields can define allowed values at runtime, and you can choose ascending or descending sort order for those return results. You can also set a parent field to link prompts so the users only ever see the relevant values to them. Some of the business challenges this will solve for is that this will improve the overall user experience by eliminating that need to search through irrelevant prompts, and it increases reporting efficiency by preventing users from selecting those invalid combinations that could result in those pesky empty reports. An example would be limiting a payroll schedule prompt to only show weekly payroll, or filtering data ranges to the last 90 days, or even mapping company to year so that selecting a specific company only displays the years that are relevant to that entity. Some deployment considerations to have is that, like all the others, this is automatically available, but some manual configuration by a report administrator may be required for all of those customized business needs. And for that, we give a level of effort to implement as medium. Now, we have one large update for people analytics within this release, and within it, it is improving that security for people analytics, and that will enable configuration for multiple security hierarchies. So under the row level security, you are now able to select an option called multiple hierarchy from that drop-down list, and the appropriate hierarchy will automatically be applied to those corresponding users. This security step in people analytics for both the worker and hiring pipeline will now expand for security groups that are secured by a single hierarchy. That's going to give the businesses more flexibility for showing different people analytics metrics to leadership. This also improves security administration for people analytics, giving you greater control over security access for your users and improving user adoption. For our deployment considerations, this is also automatically available within that Configure People Analytics task, but you must, like most People Analytics updates, reinstall the actual platform. And that means reports, discovery boards, and dashboards may need to be redone. And because of that, we want to give a level of effort to implement as high. But those are our reporting and People Analytics updates we have here, so I will pass it over to Mackenzie so she can talk about the awesome integration updates that we have. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyla. Hi, everyone. My name is Mackenzie Jackson. I'm one of the Workday integration consultants here at The Groove. So I'm first going to go over a couple of Workday delivered connector updates. I will note there are a ton of updates for very specified Workday integration connector templates. So if you do use any very specific ones, I would encourage you to go to the release notes and see if one of those are in there. But I'm going to focus on a couple of common ones that we see in a lot of Workday customers. So the first thing I'm going to focus on is HCM payroll connectors, mainly payroll connectors for this release. So the master tax filing integrations now allow you to update SUI hours worked by a worker at the deduction level. I do want to note this is only for the quarterly tax filing, but that is now an update that is allowed. And then for three Workday integration templates, the import external payslips, the external payroll documents, and the external payroll results inbound integration templates, you are now allowed to specify a payroll vendor. So if you use a payroll vendor and you're using these integration types, you're now allowed to specify that. Moving over to our finance and procurement connectors, for our supply chain management, the expected ship dates on the EDI 855 purchase order acknowledgements now allows you to see the ship dates for all acknowledged order lines, not just the back ordered ones. So you can see it for all of them now. And this is a great new feature because it's now going to allow you to use a single field for the supplier shipping data for your reporting and analytics. It also is going to allow you to improve your inventory planning and buyer visibility by displaying the supplier provided ship dates on the purchase orders and any reports they use. So that is a great feature that you now will be able to see all those ship dates for all of those items and not just the back ordered ones. Then for the automatic availability of enhanced security for the credit card accounts, files, and transactions. So if you use one of the Amex credit card templates or the MasterCard or Visa, you now don't have to opt in for the enhanced security. It's going to be automatically available because they have updated the templates with the most recent web services. So this is going to provide the most updated and improved security for more granular control over your credit card related data. That includes the billing accounts, the credit cards, and those transactions. I do want to note some of these updates are automatic, but for most of them, for any of these templates, you do want to test those in a sandbox preview, a sandbox tenant, or implementation, and really test these files and make sure that if you're using an inbound one, that you get a test file from the vendor and make sure that that new feature works correctly when you load a file. And then if you're sending one, maybe check with your vendor to see if you can send a file and they can review it, that it'll be loaded correctly before you push these to production. So now I'm going to move over to Orchestrate and discuss that. So I know that Orchestrate has been a big buzzword, and we are seeing orchestrations be used more and more with new implementations, with new AMS clients that are coming from just going live and have orchestrations. So I know it says on here that we're seeing those used instead of outbound EIBs, which is the biggest place we're seeing it, but we're seeing these for inbound integrations, APIs, really the everything. So, and the reason you're seeing this is because orchestrates allow you to enhance speed and agility with better error handling. It's a modern low code integration experience. It has better efficiency and performance. And the biggest thing I want to say is that it allows you greater scalability and future proofing. Workday is moving towards orchestrations more and more each day. They're improving it, they're changing it, they're making it more user friendly. So you're going to see this more and more. And so now you're like, okay, orchestrations, what do I do? What do I need to use it? Well, Orchestrate is now available to all Workday customers. So I am going to walk you through how you can set that up for yourself. So Orchestrate for integrations now has self-service activation. You're not going to have to reach out to your Workday rep to get this set up, which there will be a link posted to a forum post that has a video and that will share exactly step by step how to do this. But you're able to do this for yourself. So to be able to access the developer site and build these integration apps, you would have to opt in to Innovation Service Agreement, which is within your production tenant. You would then complete the Maintain Workday Build company for Orchestrate for Integrate. You would then log into the developer site and add your users, which would be your developers who could be creating orchestrates and who is going to maintain them. You would then need to update your security policies to make sure that the orchestrates work correctly within your tenant, and then you can start building. So on the screenshot shown, you can see this is what the developer site looks like. Now, the developer site is new, you've never seen it. So something really great about the developer site is you're able to go to the menu and actually see a learning tab. Now it has a getting started and tutorials. So the getting started will actually take you to the two getting started tutorials below. So the first one is just getting started with the Workday developer site. It's just gonna allow you to dip your toes in and kind of see where everything is within this site. It's new, you don't know where things are, so it's gonna show you exactly where everything is and how to walk through it. Then the next tutorial is going to getting started with Orchestrate. It's going to show you the build space for where to build an Orchestrate, explain to you what all the pieces to build an Orchestrate are, and then it's going to walk you through how to build a very simple Orchestrate to kind of get your toes wet and see how that works. There are then more advanced Orchestrate tutorials that you can go through, and then there's also a documentation and developer forum link that will take you to more documentation on Orchestrates and a developer forum where people talk about new ideas and things like that. So definitely check out that link, but hopefully you are excited about Orchestrate. And now I'm going to pass it over to Lisa.
Give me 1 second. It's not letting me turn off on my camera. That's my bad. I don't know why it's not letting me select it. Let's go ahead and oh, there we go. Hello everybody. My name is Lisa Sauter. I've been a Workday Now Eightfold consultant for 2.5 years, and today I'm happy to present you the talent and performance features in this 2026 R1 release. The first one I would like to introduce you to is the anonymous by default feature. So as a reminder, in Workday, we have 3 feedback visibility types. We have confidential feedback. This allows users to select the don't share with recipient checkbox. We also have private feedback. This is used if you want only the recipient and users with access to the worker data private feedback security domain to see that feedback. And then last but not least, we have the anonymous feedback. So this is being used if you don't want the names of feedback providers to show on feedback submissions. In the anonymous feedback, this is the one that we're talking about today. So with this new update, if you already have anonymous feedback enabled and are actively using it, now you can default the feedback to be anonymous. This would be on the give feedback business process, get feedback on self business process, and on the get feedback on worker business process. So assuming I want to give feedback to a team member, don't really want my name to be shown on feedback submissions. Previously, I had to unselect the show my name checkbox when I give feedback, which now this is automatically defaulted to be unselected. Or if, assuming I'm the manager, I've requested feedback on an employee from in my team from another team member and don't want the feedback provider's name to show, I had to select made feedback anonymous, which now that's automatically selected. Or similarly, if I request feedback on myself from several people in my team and want the feedback provider's names to be anonymous, I no longer have to select the make feedback anonymous checkbox as it's already selected. So regarding the business challenge, this kind of goes hand in hand with why some clients choose to enable anonymous feedback in the first place. So often clients opt to anonymous feedback to support a more open culture. Just because if feedback is anonymous, then people are more likely to share honest input. And now with being able to default the anonymous feedback, people don't have to select the respective checkboxes in the first place, which can increase the feedback volume. The level of effort is low. The only thing you have to do is if you go up to the search bar and you search for the maintain feedback setup, you only have to select the checkbox for anonymous by default, click OK, submit, and then it is already implemented in your tenant. Moving on to the next feature. That one is the Skills Cloud skill description. As a reminder of what Skills Cloud is, it is a machine learning powered remote collection of skills. So by now, Workday has over 55,000 skills, and those skills are created from customer contributor data, public data sets, and also purchase data sets. So Workday can suggest skills based on a lot of different items. For example, the career profile, meaning they can suggest skills based on certifications, interests, job history, and so on. They can also suggest skills based on related skills and also skill endorsements. We're using Skills Cloud in many functional areas. One of them is talent, but we also see it being used in HCM, recruiting, learning, and projects.
Skills Cloud is also a prerequisite for some items, for example, using suggested skills or also the Career Hub. One way where we see Skills Cloud being used in talent would be for skills interest, where workers can use skill interest to help them grow in their current job or also in another job that they're looking to grow into. But now talking about this new feature, in the past, some clients maintained their own skills, and that was kind of because it was unclear of what some of the skills in the Skills Cloud actually represented. But with this new update now, you can view the three-part description for a skill, meaning it shows you the definition, it shows you what knowledge is required, and then also professional use cases. So the goal is to gear away from manually maintaining your skills, mainly because you had a specific description for it and knew exactly what it meant. And now just solely rely on the Skills Cloud and use their skills now that we have all the whole description. The level of effort is low. The only thing you have to do is you have to opt into the feature. So if you go up to the search bar, search for maintain feature opt-ins, scroll down, or you can also search for it, the skill description feature, enable it, and then you can already see that feature in your tenant. One great way of using this feature that I would like to call out is you can create a custom report and then pull in different columns. One would be your employees, one would be the skills, and now you can also pull in the skill description to have a great overview of the skills your employees have and what exactly these skills mean. And that already sums up the talent and performance features. And I'm handing it over to Daniel to tell you about the extend features.
Thank you, Lisa. Hello and welcome. My name is Daniel Turborg. I'm a senior manager here at The Groove. I have been in the Workday ecosystem for just over 10 years now with a focus on integrations and Workday Extend. So let's jump into it. Who here remembers the last release notes when we introduced the Extend cards? Well, now we have with the new rule column that's been added to the Work Tools task within the Home Cards workspace, you can now configure logic-based targeting for your Work Tools. So you can get your extend cards to specific audience members, making sure that only specific cards are seen by certain people. It uses the same condition rules engines that you are familiar with announcements, your brandings, external links, and so forth. And this is all done within the tenant. You do not have to update any extend code whatsoever. So everything is done right here in the tenant. Now, how does this help you? Well, it provides you with some additional configurability. For targeting all of your fancy new extend cards, so you can get those to the right people, and it allows you to be a little bit more personalized in your homepage experience. So this is automatically going to be available in 2026 R1. Actually, I think it might be available now. And it's low to medium level to implement based on how complex you want your card rules to be, but it should be pretty simple. Next up, we have some exciting news on linking delivered tasks and reports. I know this has been a feature that quite a few Extend developers have been asking for, but now you can directly link buttons and card footers to Workday delivered tasks. So this allows you to, let's say your app does something with absence and you want to now have your users go directly to your request time off task. You can now put that link and that button into your Extend application and take them directly to the Workday delivered task. So these are enabled on buttons. And they are enabled in your page configuration for your card footers. So, just like we were talking about with the extend cards just a second ago, you can implement the linking to your task into those extend cards and footers. And yeah, so how does this help you? Well, I mean, it improves your user flow. Now you can do it all in one place, right? You can just stay in the same app, go directly to your Workday task, and maybe even come back. This helps simplify overall development, and it allows a more consistent experience throughout the Workday platform. Again, this is automatically available in 2026 R1, and depending on how complex you want to make it, it's pretty straightforward. So low to medium level of effort to implement. Now, getting a little bit more in on the technical side of things, this is for my Extend developers out there. We have new file uploader events and data functions in the PMD. So I know I'm not the only one who has experienced the fun coding of trying to add and remove files through the file uploader widgets. So we now have some additional tags and functions that help streamline and simplify the coding for file uploading events. So now you can more easily perform custom logic on your file uploads, and it removes the need for any complex coding, like when you just want to count the number of documents that you have attached in your lists or something like that. So very exciting news. As always, you can find more information on this in the developer forum. There's big conversation going on right now about it, so it's very exciting. Again, automatically available, and depending on how complex you want to make your file uploading events, low to medium level of effort on that. Now, in the realm of APIs, we have one that has been long waited for, and that is the reported time blocks for the Worker SOAP API. It now supports in and out time blocks. Previously, it was only quantitative. Now you can do actual in and out time blocks, and use it to mass load time blocks with specific start and end times rather than just how long these folks have been clocking in and out. So it enables the precise high volume time entry imports that people have been asking for, and it improves overall flexibility for those of us who require detailed time tracking. This is automatically available. You don't need to do anything to implement. This is going to be already part of the new SOAP API. And yeah, so you can go get it. And then last but not least, where would we be without some Graph API schema updates? I'm not going to go into all the details because there's a laundry list of updates here for the different Graph API schema additions, but we do have ones like local skills, worker business processes have been updated, change jobs, staffing field updates, managing enrollments, job architecture, service dates, reported time blocks for worker, and time entry and compensation queries. All of these are now available, and you can go ahead and have your Extend apps utilize these new schema additions and mutations. This is already in already part of 2026 R1, and yeah, you don't have to do anything to implement it. Just go forth and code. So, and those are all of the Extend updates for 2026 R1. I'm going to hand it off to Brittany to go over worker communication.
Thanks, Daniel. Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Pham. I'm an HCM consultant here at The Groove, and I've been in the Workday practice for about 3.5 years now. Today, I'll be highlighting the top 3 HCM features to come out of this release. Starting off, Workday is delivering a brand new engagement type called Worker Communications to the Engagement Builder. This new engagement type allows you to send branded ad hoc messages to workers, whether it be through email, mobile push notifications, or SMS. This can improve both the speed and efficiency of critical communications due to the features on the Engagement Builder dashboard. You can leverage the Audience Builder to define exact recipient lists, and you can use the Message Builder to apply any branded templates. If learning or extended enterprise campaigns or engagements are enabled in your tenant, there are two things to keep in mind. Firstly, review your campaign event BP definition. If any approval steps are configured there, you'll have to update any conditions so that approvals trigger for only specific engagement types or exclude this new engagement type alone. Secondly, a separate segment-based security group will need to be created for learning segments. The overall level of effort to implement this new feature is medium, as there are a few steps to take to set this up. A new segment-based security group will have to be created and enabled with access to the ad hoc worker communications segment. Once completed, you'll also have to use both the maintain notification templates task and edit tenant set notifications task to enable this notification type. Once all set up, you'll be able to create and launch your engagement message using the Create Message Builder template task. If no steps are taken, this engagement type cannot be used, but there will be no impact to your tenant. For our next feature, Workday is delivering new purgeable data types, or PDTs, that will enable you to permanently remove worker documents, attachments, and comments for both active and terminated workers. This new feature supports data protection and global data compliance requirements, and it includes Workday-delivered validations to either warn or block data purges that would impact any dependent processes. The new PDTs can purge data in the following areas listed here on the left-hand side. The first is time-off entry comments. This will purge any comments from time-off entries or corrections, and this can be filtered by time-off date. The next four areas cover worker information, allowing you to purge a worker's event comments, documents, and attachments. There are also bypassable validations that prevent any of these items from being purged if part of an in-progress event. It is important to note that these PDTs currently purge all of the worker's comments, documents, and/or attachments entered through the events, and this cannot be undone. For example, if choosing to purge worker comments, the PDT will purge all of a worker's comments tied to that event. With this release, specific items cannot be selected during the purge, but Workday does hope to address this in a future release. The overall level of effort here is low, as these PDTs can be enabled by creating a new purge plan or updating an existing purge plan. If no action is taken, this new feature will not display in your tenant, and you will continue to retain any worker documents, attachments, and comments based on your current policy. Lastly, Workday is removing the feature opt-out option for the new change job user experience. Currently, users have the ability to opt in or opt out to the new change job UI. With Workday removing the ability to opt out, all customers will be opted into the new change job experience in preparation for the change job enhancements coming in R2. This means that administrators will now have the ability to configure templates for more change job scenarios, including change contract contingent worker, change job, change location, or request transfer. If templates are created for these listed initiating actions, Workday does enforce the usage of the new enhanced UI. However, if using the start job change initiating action, which is not listed here, you will be able to select either the legacy UI or the new enhanced UI for the time being. This feature is automatically available, but Workday recommends reviewing and configuring your change job templates as needed and in preparation for R2. If you are already opted into this feature, you'll experience no changes to the maintain job change templates task. However, if you are currently opted out, you will see the changes to the task in your tenant. If you choose not to take action and create templates, Workday will continue to use the legacy UI for all initiating actions. This is expected to change in R2, however, and I'll hand it over to Lauren to speak more about the upcoming enhancements to the change job process.
Thanks. Give my camera a second to turn on. There we go. Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Marriott, and I'm an advisory services consultant at The Groove. And yeah, I'm going to share a little bit more about the change job update. So Brittany shared how you can no longer opt out in the R1 release, but I'm going to share more about what this change is going to actually look like in R2 and how you can prepare now from a change management perspective. So this release includes a full update to the change job experience and user interface. And just to be clear, the full UI change is happening in R2, so we're just looking ahead to make sure that we can prepare now. So the goal of this change is to make the workflow more intuitive, consistent, and more accurate, especially for teams that process job changes frequently. So you'll notice that the new experience really streamlines the process. It's going to simplify data entry, reduce clicks, and improve clarity for the user. It's also fully template driven, which means customers can tailor the sub-processes and the information that displays. Another major improvement is full mobile support. So managers and HR partners who often work on the go will now be able to complete job changes more easily from their phones. So it's important to call out that customers who have not yet adopted the enhanced UI will be automatically migrated with the 2026 R2 release. So this change is going to affect everyone. And I'd like to highlight also some things that are not changing though. So the overall routing, the steps in the business process definition, and your ability to configure what displays. So overall, the underlying business process will still behave as it does today. We'll go to the next slide. So if you're not familiar what this change is going to look like, we're going to look at the current and the new UI. So here on this slide, you can see the current change job user interface. This is what many of your managers, HR partners, and administrators are familiar with today if you have not updated to the new change job experience. This view is still functional, but it requires a lot of navigation between sections, and the layout can feel a bit fragmented sometimes, and that could lead to errors or missing information. So I wanted to share this. It just is helpful to look at the old experience, and then we'll take a look at what the new experience looks like on the next slide. All right, so here is the redesigned change job experience. The UI is cleaner, it's more structured, and much easier for users to follow. So instead of jumping between multiple pages, the enhanced UI consolidates key details and guides the users step by step. One of the biggest improvements is the updated side panel, which shows the worker's current position details. This is going to reduce the need to open additional tabs or search for information while completing the job change. You'll also notice that Workday has introduced a much more modern page layout, including a customizable banner at the top. You can also see the view from the mobile device, and this view is going to look very similar to the desktop version for users. All right, so let's talk about what these changes mean for your organization and how to prepare. From a UI perspective, the biggest impacts come from shifts in workflow layout and user navigation. There's no longer a start page, and the new layout and side panel introduce a different way of interacting with the change job process. Setting up the templates is also very important because the new experience is template driven. Early decisions about optional fields, required fields, and configurations will shape what the end user sees. You'll also want to review your security and approval routing if changes to the templates are made. This may influence who needs access or who needs to approve specific steps. If you have any questions about how to set up your templates, the group's functional consultants can definitely help with that. So let's talk about now how you can prepare your organization for this change. So to support a smooth rollout, you'll want to focus on these three areas: readiness, communication, and training. So let's talk about readiness, which is really going to be the foundation for a successful transition. It's super valuable to identify your impacted user groups early. Understanding who will experience the change and what is changing for each groups helps you tailor both your communications and your training. This release is also a great opportunity to pause and reflect on your current change job workflow. Because Workday is requiring everyone to move to the new UI, this mandatory change creates a natural moment to evaluate what's working, what isn't, and what can be improved. Between now and the R2 release, you can gather feedback from the people who perform job changes most often, and their insights can help you streamline the process and reduce pain points before adopting the enhanced UI. Another important part of readiness is reviewing your existing training materials. Most organizations are already going to have job aids, videos, or guides for change job, but many of those are going to need updates. Evaluating What you have now is going to help you understand the scale of effort required and ensure you're prepared before the release. Next is communications. Early, clear, and consistent communications is super valuable. Be sure to share the timeline for when the legacy changed UI is retiring and let users know when the new experience will be automatically adopted. Providing an FAQ early is also incredibly helpful, especially for those common questions like what's changing and why is it changing. Preparing now for how and when you'll communicate these messages will make the change feel predictable instead of disruptive. The more transparent you are and upfront, the smoother the adoption is going to be. And finally, training. The good news is that this type of change typically doesn't require heavy training. The enhanced UI it's cleaner, it's more intuitive, and it's easier to follow. But users are still going to need to get used to the new layout and become familiar with it. So short targeted training is usually the most effective. Things like quick reference guides or job aids and short walkthrough videos are going to be great and super helpful for this. Even just a couple minutes of practice or letting them see it before it's released will be valuable. But hopefully this overview gives you a clear sense of what's coming, how you can begin preparing now, and with the right readiness, planning, communications, and training, your organization will be positioned for a successful move to the enhanced change job experience. All right, that is all I have. Thank you. I'll pass it back to Chelsea, I think, for questions.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of our amazing talent for going over these release updates. We did receive a couple questions, so I'm going to go ahead and read those out. The first question is for Kyla. Can you use these new chart types on dashboards that you explained in the beginning?
Yeah, you can. So all you'll need to do is go in and edit the actual reports, enable them as worklets, and attach them to the dashboard. As long as you have the new funnel and scatterplot chart types on the actual report definition, once they're added to that dashboard and you run the dashboard, those chart types will now be showing.
Wonderful. Thank you. The next question is for Lisa. If we decide to enable anonymous feedback, what does the from column display? Can the person who gave the feedback still view their own submitted feedback in their history?
Yes, they can definitely do that. So the way it would, they would, sorry, the way they would be able to see this by going to the feedback given tab, and then they can still see who they gave feedback to, even though it was anonymous. And the from column that would show as anonymous as well.
Thank you, Lisa. Question for Mackenzie. I don't see on the Release Center to filter for integrations since product line does not have integrations as a choice. How can I filter to find updates to integrations only to see the connectors that have updates?
Great question. I had the same issue. So when you're on the Release Center and you're refining by to look through the filters, at the very bottom, there is this using Workday filter, and it has administration and integrations, which will allow you to choose those templates and everything integration related. So it's the last one. It's the last filter, so you have to scroll down.
Perfect. Thank you. We had a question come in for the new homepage global navigation change. Could we cover this obvious change for end users? I'm not sure who that question would be going to. We will get back to you on that one. Any other questions coming through? Feel free to submit them through the chat. Alrighty, well, thank you so much for everyone that joins. We will be sending out this recording through email after this, and don't forget to join session 2, where we'll be covering some additional updates that are being released in this features. Thank you so much.